Hello and welcome to Yav Tech and Code with Ben. So in this tutorials, I'll be discussing about another function in the FS model. This function I'll be discussing is called the create link, okay, or the link function. All right. So without much wasting time, let me just go straight to the point or to our discussion for the day. All right, so to be able to use the link function of the FS model, we have to first of all import the model. Okay, so we unpack. So let's import the model here, okay, into this variable called link. Okay, then we have require. Then the model is FS. Okay, so let's say FS. Okay, all right. Or if you want to use, you can use nodejs. It's basically the same thing. Okay, so do not worry. All right. So this function, what it does is that it creates a link between two files. Okay, so let's say we have one file. Okay, and we want to create, let's say, a copy. Okay, an exact copy. Okay, if I mean the exact copy, I'm not saying that the file name, okay, the name of the file should be the same. No, the exact copy is the content of the file. So it means that if this file has uh, today is for programming, this next file, which even though it has a different file name, will still have today is for programming. Okay. All right. So let's test that feature. So what we'll do first is that we will have to create a text file. Okay, so let's create a file here. So let's create a file and let's call this file, let's name this file uh, test test file or test files. Yeah, let's just put it test files. Okay. All right, so let's have the test file. Okay, so inside the test file, we can write a text, or we can write anything inside here. So we can say today is for programming. Okay, today is for Node.js link or Node.js programming. Okay, all right. So this is what we have inside the test files. Okay. All right. Then what we'll do now is that we'll create a function. Okay. When we are done creating the function, then we also create a different file. Okay. So whatever we have here as today is for Node.js programming will be replicated to the new file that we'll create. Okay. All right. So now let's create the function. So we have function create path. So the name of the function, I'm naming it create path. Okay. All right. So create path. Then we take an argument. So it means that when we take an argument e, okay, or a parameter e. Now, so we define a parameter e, okay, which means that when we call the function, whenever we call the function create path, we ought to pass an argument to it. Okay, so if you don't pass an argument to the function when we are calling the function or we want to execute the function, the the Node.js compiler will throw an error message, okay, which will say that this create path function require one argument or require one argument, but none has been provided. Okay. So just take note whenever you define a function and you input anything in between the brackets here, if it's a parameter, that means that whenever we are calling the function, we ought to provide an argument to the parameter. Okay. All right. So let's continue. All right. So when we are done creating this, let's now define what the function will do. Okay. All right, so we'll say the function will link what? What is the function linking? So it's linking this test file. So test files dot txt. Okay. Then we define our new path. Okay. Our new path we say e. E, which means that e is the parameter or the argument will pass here. Okay. So whichever path, okay, whichever path that we pass here as an argument, okay, will be the same as the e we see here. So e, then we define our callback. Remember our callback error function. Okay, so we define our err. If there's any error, this is what will handle it. Okay, so we define our err. So we say if err throw error, okay, else, and also when you're done throwing the error, console.log console.log um, the link has been successful. Successful. Right. Okay. Successfully created. Okay. Let's say successfully created. Right. Okay. Okay. So when we are done here, let's close this. I think there is one more bracket we need to close. This one is this. Okay, we need to close this one. Okay, so let's close it like this. Right. Okay. Then why am I getting this error here? Okay, so this one has been closed here. Okay, so we'll take this one off. Okay, then that's it. All right. So when we are done with this, what we ought to do next is that we have to call the function. Okay, so we are calling the create path function. Okay, that is a new file that we want to create, which will replicate or which will contain this. Today is for node.js programming, so it will contain the same text, okay, inside the new function, inside the new file. All right, so let's call the function and add the file to it, the new file that we want to create. Okay, now one more thing that you need to know is that this new file that you are creating is a new file altogether. So it's a file we've not created. It will create the file if the file does not exist. Okay. So if the file doesn't exist, it will create a file for you. So let's call this file my new text file.txt. Alright, so this is the name of our new file that we want to create. Okay. Alright, so when we are done here and we hit on the run, okay, so it has created the file. Okay, then it's telling you that file already exists. Okay, now so you can check. So after creating the file, you can go and check into your directory or your folder and see whether you have any file like my new text file.txt. Okay, let me just check over here so I can do open this, then my, let's see if we have my new text file. Okay, it's here. Open it. So you can see that my new text file contains the same text that we have as test files. So today is for Node.js programming. This one too contains today is for Node.js programming. You understand? Okay. So basically, that is for the create link or the link function inside the FS model. Okay. So we'll go straight to our next function. So our next function we'll talk about is the onLink. Okay. So the onLink, what basically it does is it will delete. Okay. While link is creating the file, the onLink will delete the file. That is basically how you want to understand it. So link creates a new file, onLink deletes a file. Okay. All right. So let's go through with the onLink function. Okay, so before we use our link function, remember we need to import the model. Okay, so let's import the model. So the model we use here is on link. So we'll do the two types. You know, we have the synchronous and the asynchronous. So we'll first do the sync. Okay, we'll do an example with the sync. Then later we'll come and do an example with the async. All right. So let's do the sync. So with the sync, we say const on link sync, then require, then we are requiring it from the node fs model. All right. So what we'll do here is that when we are done declaring our model or importing our model, then what we do is that we have to delete the file. Okay. So now what we'll pass the request inside a try and catch. Okay. So that if there's an error, the catch will catch the error. We don't want the program to crash if there's any error. So let the catch the error for us. So we'll first declare our try here. So what do we want to do? We want to use the onLink sync, right? Okay, so the onLink sync. Then what path or what file do we want to delete? Okay, so let's delete this new file that we created. Okay, so my new text file .txt. Let's close it here and let's delete it here. My new text file .txt. Okay, so this is the file we want to delete. So it's the file that we created that we want to delete. Okay, so let's do that one. So when it's done on linking or when it's done deleting the file, then let's print console log. File has been successfully unlinked. Okay, all right. So we type something like this. Okay. Alright, so then we are done with the try, then we go about to define our catch. So let's close the try border or the try curly bracket. So we define our catch. So catch ERR, ERR, then we open our brackets. So what do we put here? We can just say console log or console error. Let's use console error err. Okay, all right, so if there's an error, just log the error. Okay, so when we are done here and we run this function, no such file, so it has deleted the file. So you can go back into your directory and see if you can still see the file there. You see that the file no longer exists. Okay, it's been deleted. All right, so basically that is what the onLink really does. Okay, all right, so this is for the synchronous version. Now let's use the onLink asynchronous. Okay, all right, so we'll just delete it from here. And the only difference is that this one, the async, previous discussions, I've told you the async doesn't have any sync at the end. So we just take off it, then use the on link. Okay. All right. Then because we are using async, we can as well introduce promises. Okay. All right. Then that will settle it for the async version. All right. So with the async, we'll use the async and await. Okay. You remember the async and await? Okay. So we'll use that same thing over here. So what do we do? We'll do async function. Then we pass a path here. Okay. Okay. So we'll pass a path here. Then let's go on. Then when we pass this path here, when we are calling the function, it means that so this acts as like parameter. So anytime we are calling the function, we ought to include or we ought to provide an argument. Okay, else we'll get an error message. Okay, so when we are done here, then we place it. So first of all, let's put it inside a try and catch. Okay, so that what basically it will do is that if there's an error in the file or the file cannot be located, the catch will catch the error and will not cause the program to crash. Okay. All right. So let's use the try here. So after declaring the function, we open the curly bracket, then we do the try. Okay. So what do we want to do the try? What do we want to do inside the try? We will call the await. So await the on link, okay, and the path. All right. So when it's done, console log, console the log successfully. So let's say console successfully on link. Or no, let's use deleted. Okay, successfully deleted. Right. Okay. Um, if we like, we can include or you just let's just console log this one successfully deleted. Okay. All right. Then when we are done here, we now define our catch. Okay. If there's an error, what will happen? So we define our catch here. All right. So this catch, what will basically do, it will pick the error, and then if there's any error message, it will throw the error message. Okay. So we say console error. There was an error. There was an error. Uh, okay, what is the error? That's error message. Okay, so if we like, we can just do comma error message. Okay, so basically what we are saying is that if there's an error, okay, it will console log there was an error, then the error message. Okay, so what error message that we got, it will be included inside it. All right. Okay, so then when we are done here, okay, we have to close. I think there's a bracket we need to close. There's a bracket. Okay, so let's close this. Okay, right. And let's call the function. Okay, all right. So over here, what we do is we we basically have to include the file, okay, the file that we want to unlink, okay. So you can go through. I don't know if you have another file in your system, or if not, you can create a file, okay. You can create a file here and then name the file, let's say, to be deleted soon, okay. So we name the file to be deleted soon. All right. So we've saved the file to be deleted soon. Okay, let's close it. But it's still in our directory. So if you check in our directory, if you check in the directory, you will find that to be deleted soon is still there. Okay, all right. Then what we do is that we pass the file here. So to be deleted soon dot txt. Okay, so we'll pass the file here and we run the function. Okay, so you can see there was an error. Okay, so it means that it has deleted it and it is telling you that there was an error here. So now let's go back and check the folder whether the file to be deleted soon is still there. Okay, so when you go there, you see there is no to be deleted soon. To be deleted soon has been deleted. You understand? Okay. So basically, that is what it does. So the unlink will delete the file. The link will link or will create a file and copy the content to it. Okay, so that is it for today. Join me in my next tutorial session where we will discuss the make directory. We'll also discuss the open and close. All right, thank you.